Hi, everyone. Welcome to our August version of Show and Tell. I'll give everyone a minute or so to join in. Um, and just, yeah, we'll give it a little bit. But while everyone's joining in, as always, we love hearing your questions, your feedback, your comments in the chat as we're going through today's session. Also, as a reminder, we will be sharing the recording of today's session. You'll also get all of the links and the goodness from everyone's presentation today. So you'll be able to go through everyone's links and see everything that's been shared. And as an additional reminder, because we love to hear what you're saying, please make sure that as you're using the chat box that it's set to everyone and not just the host and the panelists so that all attendees can see what you're saying. And then we actually have no marketing updates for today, so we can jump right into today's webinar. So I'm going to stop sharing now. We'll still allow some time for everyone to dive in, and I'll get our links pulled up for today. Let me just get everything situated here, and we can get started. All right. So diving in today, we'll begin with Patricia. So I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks, Sally. Hi, everyone. I'm Patricia Maeda, Director of Women's Wear. And I have been thinking a lot about beauty lately and how there seems to be a lack of beauty in our everyday. So my first two links are somewhat related to my personal search for trying to find beautiful things. And so I wanted to share the work of a Cuban artist. His name is Diego Hernandez Torres, and he creates these incredible oil paintings. They almost look like AI, but he is using traditional oil painting techniques. And what I love about his work is that it invites you to keep looking. So you can go on this side, yeah. So all his work feels abstract, but also recognizable. And he actually coined the term olaísmo from the Spanish word ola, that means wave. And it is a conceptual art movement that symbolizes fluidity, movement, and the transient nature of ideas, cultures, and political systems. So he uses this wave technique to create a world that is more fluid and not as rigid, and creating these very striking compositions. Really beautiful.
Wow, I love these. It feels like a modern version of like an impressionist technique.
Yeah, but
That's
it does
stunning.
feel very modern, which is
Yeah.
so my second link is also connected to this idea of beauty. But before we watch the video, I just want to give a quick intro.
Mhm.
So this is a project by a Spanish architect. His name is Luis Dominic Montanier. And he was very much involved in the Art Nouveau movement in the 1920s. And he believed that beauty could help people heal. And so he designed this incredible hospital that I wanted to share with you guys. We can watch the video now.
Art Nouveau complex on Earth isn't by Gaudi, it's a hospital made by his teacher. Luis Dominic ran Barcelona's architecture school, sat in Spain's parliament, and trained the architects who made the city famous. Gaudi was his student, and he believed something radical, that beauty itself could help people heal. So when a banker left his fortune to build a new public hospital, Dominic didn't design a building, he made a city. 48 pavilions, each with its own garden, and turned so every ward caught the sun. He curved every surface and sheathed it in ceramic so dust and germs had nowhere to settle. The ceilings arched like a cathedral, tiled with roses, daisies, and laurel that climbed the columns like vines. Behind each bed, there's a wall of flowers. He hid the corridors underground so the hospital could be quieter, and at the end of every ward, there was a sunroom where patients recovered before going home. Saints were carved above doors, and even the gardens were part of the cure. They were planted with lavender, rosemary, and orange trees. It worked as a hospital for almost 80 years, and Dominic died before it was finished, but his son saw it through. Babies were born here, people recovered here, and they were surrounded by gardens and color instead of white walls. He proved that a hospital didn't have to feel like one. The largest art
Gorgeous.
Yeah, so I mean, I just love this idea that beauty can help people heal. And I would, of course, love if all hospitals look like that. But yeah, so stunning and just kind of like reimagining what a hospital can look and feel like.
Yeah.
So my next link is a project called Draw Me a Face. And instead of asking makeup artists to create new beauty looks, the project asked children to draw their ideas for makeup looks onto portraits and then translated their sketches into real makeup looks. So, as you can see, the result is so creative and so fun. The focus is not really on correcting imperfections, but expressing their imagination. I think there's something really refreshing about seeing beauty through a child's eyes. I think, they're not really thinking about trends or symmetry. They're simply creating without rules. And I think it just kind of like reminds us that beauty can be joyful and it can be expressive, rather than something that has to be perfect. So just a really interesting project.
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah, I love the comparison side by side when you can see, the sketch and then you can see the final look. It's just really cool.
I also love the colors because I feel like kids aren't like beholden to typical cosmetic colors. They're just like they want pretty colors. So fun. I love it.
All right, so for my last two links that I wanted to share are two creators who I think are really inspiring. Maybe some of you have seen them already because they really exploded on social media. The first one is Kalu Putik. He is a content creator from Ethiopia, and he turns everyday waste and discarded materials into striking, almost like avant-garde looking high fashion looks. His videos are so cool and so addictive to watch. We can watch a few of them.
Your love.
Inside a new Balenciaga, cigarettes and tiny liquor bottles, just what you'd expect. Inside a new Balenciaga, cigarettes.
Frankie, baby, what we finna do?
Talking, I'm in love, babe, don't make a fuss. In a hotel lobby, damn, I'll pack it up.
Frankie, baby, what we finna
So what's interesting too is that he only has 30 posts on Instagram, but is already at 6.7 million followers. So very impressive, but obviously it's such a cool kind of content that he's creating.
Wow. Where is he based?
Ethiopia.
Oh, yeah. Very cool.
And so the second creator is Rachel Ojoromi, and she's from Lagos, Nigeria. And she films most of her content on the streets, and her content is also really, really cool. I love this one, in particular, this video where she recreated the Chanel show that we had in New York. And everything from the styling to the creative direction is just super well executed. A great influencer to have on our radar.
Fashion baby, work it, move that bitch crazy. Walk, walk, fashion baby, work it, move that bitch crazy. Walk, walk, fashion baby, work it, move that bitch crazy. Walk, walk, passion baby, work it, I'm a free bitch, baby.
I want your love and I want your revenge. I want your love, I don't wanna be friends. Je veux ton amour et je veux ta revanche. Je donne amour. I don't wanna be friends. No, I wanna be friends. I wanna be friends.
So good. The styling is incredible.
Yeah. And I think that's it from me. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Patricia. Amazing. All right. My first link today is this project I came across. This is a artist and a choreographer. Her name is Chiara Bartolsalvi, and I came across this piece of choreography kind of on my feed, and it's called Heat Island. It was a piece that was kind of done in like a box theater for some sort of art show, and then it kind of moved into like a more performance piece. But it uses practical effects and like literal friction to create sparks when dancing. And I'll show a video of her actually speaking about it a bit, and then I'll show some actual clips from the piece that I think are beautiful in themselves, but I think she can explain it better than I can first.
Celle en dansant.
Hi, I'm Chiara Bartolsalvi. I am an artist and choreographer from Austria, Vienna. My work moves between choreography, visual art, and sound. One medium I work with is the tap shoe. The shoe for me is a choreographic and sonic tool. We are here at the beautiful Ménagerie de Verre in their beautiful dance studios. I'm gonna show Heat Island, my latest work, in the festival Les Inaccoutumés. Friction is the motor of the whole piece. It generates light, it generates heat, it generates movement and sound. Through specifically created shoes, we create sparks. We have different kind of shoes also. We have heels, we have flip-flops, we have dance shoes. Here's a flip-flop, for example. That's the shoes. The technology behind the shoes are realized with Patrick Winkler. He's a conceptual artist. What interested me always was to make movement audible and sound and friction visible.
Elle crée des étincelles.
Yeah, so I love the concept. I first came across her work in this video, and I just thought it was so beautiful. Obviously, the sound is incredible too, but I just really love this concept of spark shoes. I think the production is so simple, but I like the idea of using movement and friction and dance and kind of interaction with the actual environment. But I really love that it's not a huge production. It doesn't use any CGI, doesn't use any technology, but just the actual, like a few nodules on the actual shoe. She mentioned that this one piece, she uses her actual grandma's loafer as inspiration for the shoe. So again, you don't actually need like the actual dance shoe. Anyone can kind of use it. So it is this kind of approachability to the piece as well. But I'll just show some other pieces from it, and I think it's just so mesmerizing. I feel like I want these to walk around New York in, to like shuffle around. Just walking down the street, I feel like it's really fun. Yeah. But just, yeah, the idea of using sound and movement I thought was really beautiful. So that was my first link. The second one I have is, no surprise to anyone, film related a bit, but also design related. So the film production studio Neon, they just recently had a redesign for their LA offices, and it was redesigned by Studio Muka to reference old Hollywood and to honor the art of cinematic storytelling through their design choices. So a lot of the objects and the furniture that were used were either historically significant or actually customized to capture the ethos of filmmaking. So I love a lot of the design choices that were made. It is just like actually beautiful, but I also love the significance of the choices. You can see they have their actual Oscars on display for winning Best Picture for Parasite and Anora recently. So when you first enter their studios, the first thing you see is this kind of idea that pays homage to the past, the present, and the future of film. These low-profile chairs are kind of reminiscent to Stanley Kubrick's 2001 Space Odyssey. It looks kind of like this like HAL-like figure, which is their the AI assistant in that movie. I also love that some of the details they wanted to kind of create this world that felt like the romance of an airport that I thought was really interesting. So they talked about, so Tom Quinn, the founder of Neon, said that he really likes that the romance of an airport feels that you can go anywhere at any instant. He felt that that kind of feeling also is reminiscent of film because it kind of transports you anywhere. So he wanted to evoke that into the design of the space. And he said that also that just reminds him of kind of the feeling of Casablanca, which is one of his favorite films. So I loved that detail. They have obviously a screening room in there that I thought was really amazing, kind of this film noir look. But I just really love how all the design choices just really revert back to the inherent love of storytelling and filmmaking to really tie the piece together or the space together and fosters this environment of storytelling. I love the song obviously Bong Joon-ho reference from Parasite. It's their conference room, but I just thought it was really beautiful and just kind of fostering this idea and the space for creative storytelling and independent filmmaking. But yeah, just a really beautiful space and really thoughtful design choices throughout. Again, this is also kind of the Space Odyssey like reception desk. But yeah, it's a really simple but really effective design choices. I feel like not everything is super aesthetically tied together, but just with the whole concept of wanting to make it related to the love of filmmaking, I appreciated. So those are my two very quick links, and then I'll hand it over to Kristen.
Hi everyone, I'm Kristen. I am the Director of Home and Lifestyle. So my first two links today are artists whose work I've been very inspired by recently. The first one, someone actually introduced me to this artist earlier this week, and I was instantly so intrigued to learn a little bit more about her and her work. So her name is Raya Waters, and she's developed a completely self-devised woodworking technique that is kind of unlike anything I've ever seen before. So she creates these incredibly soft hair-like fibers across the surface of the wood to kind of make it look almost like a textile in some applications. So that image to the right there almost looks like a wall hanging of some sort. But she achieves this through this very precise, repetitive movement with her chisel, using controlled, deliberate gestures to lift the fibers from the surface. And what I learned after I started researching her work a little bit more is that the technique that she uses actually began as a technical mistake. And rather than dismissing it, she recognized its potential and she spent 4 years refining it into the signature process that she uses today. And for her, the woodworking becomes less about shaping an object and more about constructing it as a surface, which I think is really cool. So the emphasis on the wood kind of shifts from form and function to texture and tactility and the visible traces of her hand. So the finished pieces, they just invite you to come closer. I want to touch everything. And they really do demand that physical response because they look unexpectedly soft in a way. And another thing that I really love about her practice that resonated with me is her relationship with the material itself. So her husband is actually an arborist, so the wood she works with is often a byproduct of his work. So she has a very close proximity to the life cycle of trees, which has clearly shaped her perspective She approaches her artistry with wood with a deep awareness of these raw materials and how they never come without cost. So every material choice leaves a trace, and that understanding is really fundamental to her practice. So that's really what makes her work so powerful to me. It's not just this innovative technique that she uses, it's really this process of slowing down, honoring the material, and making the process of making these visible um, visible techniques in the final object. So that's my first one.
Gorgeous.
My next one is another artist whose work has inspired me lately, Anita Regal. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but everyone at FS lately knows that I've been super inspired by these wild, untamed forms of nature that keep appearing lately. And I'm really loving how different artists are tapping into that aesthetic rather than the more manicured or idealized versions of nature that we have seen for some time. So that's probably why I'm so captivated by this artist's work. So at first glance, her sculptures look like these geological discoveries rather than these objects made by hand. They kind of feel as though they've been unearthed, and that's really what makes them so compelling to me, because they sit in this space between nature and the imagined. So the artist actually grew up surrounded by a rugged post-glacial landscape filled with these enormous boulders and riverbeds and fossil-covered rocks. So it's those memories of her childhood that have shaped her work. So rather than recreating nature literally, she really is interested in capturing its energy, its rhythms, its emotional presence. And I really love her material process that she uses. So she combines stoneware with porcelain, with crushed volcanic rock, basalt, granite, feldspars, and she repeatedly dries, fires, reglazes, and refires each piece. And she pushes the materials to their physical limits until their breaking point. So instead of controlling every outcome, she really embraces these unexpected shifts and the cracks and the deformations that form. And I really like how the material becomes this active collaborator in the final result of her pieces. So it really is that willingness to surrender to the process that help these become more alive. But I think they're really beautiful. I love the color. I love all the texture. I love how they feel as though they're still transforming and evolving, which goes back to those sentiments of nature doing the same. And it just, I think her work reflects a broader shift that we're seeing in design. Materials are no longer expected to appear flawless or highly refined. We really are appreciating, the surfaces that feel expressive and geological and transformed by time and process, more and more so now. So her work is actually being displayed right now in London. So if you're in that area, definitely check it out. But I just think her work is really beautiful.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with this. The colors are stunning.
They are.
And like I really love this one here that looks like it has like the pool of water in it. That's gorgeous.
That was the first one that really
Yeah.
captivated me because it does feel like it's in motion.
Yeah, that's amazing. Wow. Like great discovery. I love it.
All right, and my next link, very different, but I have been working a lot on back to school research at the moment. So this one came at the perfect time. It's the Compashing collection by IKEA. So it's this new collection that's built for life in transit. And we have been having discussions on small space living and modular furniture for years, especially as people rent and live in cities and move very frequently. But I really do like how this collection pushes it to another level. So rather than simply designing the furniture to fit into the small apartment, they've designed the furniture around the reality of living in transit. And I do think there's a link to a press kit somewhere at the bottom of this article, which has more photos, which we could see. Um, but they actually spent time with young adults in London to observe how often they move, how carefully they choose the things that they carry with them from home to home. So every single piece has been thought through from the perspective of portability. So everything is very lightweight, it's very compact, it's easy to carry. So like this clothing piece for your closet, you could just zip it right up, and then it has backpack straps, so you could throw it on your back and you could transport basically your entire wardrobe on your back. So they've thought of these really interesting ways to make it easy to move from destination to destination. Even they even have this plant bag, which I thought was interesting. So that's a surprisingly common challenge for people. How do they carry their big house plants from apartment to apartment? So they came up with a solution for that. There's no tools or assembly required. Everything just kind of folds up. This side table from, it goes from a side table to lying flat, and you could just throw it over your shoulder. So I love that this sense of portability isn't treated as a compromise. The furniture still feels warm, it still feels thoughtful. And the goal wasn't to make disposable furniture for temporary living. It was to create pieces that are meant to move through these different chapters of your life, with high quality materials that are going to last you. So, like I said, timing couldn't be better with all these students going back to school, moving into dorms or apartments, or just anyone navigating life where you're moving every couple of years. This feels very relevant. So just represents that continued shift in designing for more mobile lives. But that's it from me.
No, very smart. Awesome. Thank you, Kristen. And then last but not least, Rachel.
Hey everyone, I'm Rachel Gettner, Director of Active and Outdoor here at Future Snoops. And yeah, I'll speak a little bit about my first link before you hit it because it'll start playing for sure. So this is part of the latest campaign for Salomon within the Australia and New Zealand area, and I really love it. It's a 3-part series. And what's really great is it puts a focus on how they're meant to be in nature. So whether you're wearing them in a city or not, but how we all really crave that balance, that recentering when we reconnect to nature through movement. And this series, it spotlights 3 different creatives. One's a choreographer, one is a running line designer called Notes, which we love at FS. But all of them are speaking about movement. It feels super conversational, really organic, all centered around nature and how that has shaped their creative process. And I really love also there's some taglines such as slow as a fast lane and alone, off grid, all in, just her, the trail, and the quiet dare to go one step further than yesterday. No watch, no pace, no plan, just the long, unhurried business of dissolving into nature. And all of these are really echoing this shift that we're seeing in active right now. And that's less focused on metrics, more about just how movement makes you feel. And at the end of the day, that's super important. So you can play this first link. This one in particular puts a spotlight on a choreographer, Zoe Marsh. So very in sync with you, Hallie, always.
I like feeling the transfer of weight from my heel to my toe, and then feeling the earth underneath me, and then feeling the spring and momentum and like pounce. city, I'll be like, oh my God, I feel very overstimulated. You feel it, it's loud, it's noisy. Then you come out here and it's just, you know what I mean? You're just floating through the landscape, and yeah, it's super timeless and spacious and open, and anything and everything's possible, and no thought is too wild or no idea is too crazy. It's just something coming through you. I like the rhythm, and it sounds like a soundtrack. My feet, my breath, and nature, and just dancing and sweeping around. I've always just been like a nature rat. As much as you play, you must rest. As much as I city, I must nature.
Yeah, so I wanted to highlight this one. I absolutely love this. Zoe Marsh is so cool. And the tagline for that one is most runners count, steps, splits, and seconds, but Zoe Marsh runs to lose track. And this is for off-track mindsets. And shout out, one of my best friends did the sound for all of these. So go check them out on the Salomon Instagram page and give them some love to celebrate. And then my next link, I'm realizing all three of my links are linked together unintentionally, but I wanted to share this really cool concept, this really great design I saw from New Balance, and they created a garden. So very much up Kristen's alley as well. So you can click there and go through a little bit of the photos from here. But what I loved from one of the pages that was speaking about it, their inspiration was about creating these more healthy workplaces, and that we spend nearly a third of our life working. And considering that a third of the life is sleeping, hopefully, and then we add up the time spent with family and other leisure pursuits, drawing up the spreadsheets, balancing books, etc. In this ideal world, they wanted to create a place that you spend so much time in, and it should have all of these really pleasurable moments and look this gorgeous as well. So New Balance, they commissioned a garden in its UK headquarters. It's a really gorgeous, tranquil new outdoor space. They called it the Flimby Garden. And it's located right alongside their UK factory. And it's a really great place for all of their, I think they have over 300 employees there. Step away from the production floor, spend a little bit more time immersed in nature. And what I love about this, it's really aligning with some of the things I've been seeing at different trade shows, some things we've been speaking about at FS. We definitely know the impact of green spaces in the workplace. They have a significant reduction in stress levels. They boost creativity, productivity, even enhance cognitive function. So really, really loving what New Balance did with this garden. And they're creating this place that is highlighting not just the craftsmanship of their shoes, but also how they're keeping their employees happy here in this beautiful, beautiful green space. And some of the flowers here, they have roses, peonies, anemones, foxgloves, lilies, and it's already becoming a local haven for local birds, bees, and other wildlife that may wander in as well. So would love to visit that, but I think it's a really great initiative from New Balance.
Beautiful. I love that. Amazing. Thank you. Oh, one more.
And then and then my last one for today is okay. It's a nice one to end on as well. I'll speak just before it plays, but I went to Sardinia recently, and the oceans are incredible, but I finally got to go to an item on my bucket list for Sardinia, which is this outdoor rock garden. And it features an artist, Pinuccio Sciulla. My Italian is not great, but this video will do it a lot better justice. But it's an Italian sculptor from Sardinia. He works with the Sardinia landscape, and with that was rocks. And what was really special was there were a lot more rocks than I even anticipated. And each one is so unique, and it was really testament to all of his ideas and his work. And I don't think he calls himself a musician, but really he's just at that intersection of sculptor and musician. So you can see all the different varieties that he created with just really simple tools for his factory. And really his concept was that rocks hold the memory of the universe. They've been there since day zero. So all of this information, all of this memory is held within its core. So he's just simply releasing that energy through the sound and through the music. So you can play this link and it will have a really beautiful video to accompany.
Ci troviamo nel Giardino Sonoro, lo spazio espositivo all'aperto di Pinuccio Sciola. Diciamo che quello che si trova tra le 700 opere è un'enorme energia. Si tratta di suoni, di vibrazioni che cambiano in base alla composizione molecolare della materiale che andiamo a suonare, per esempio il basalto, che è una pietra vulcanica, ha un suono molto profondo, o il calcare, che è una roccia sedimentaria, si forma sott'acqua e ha un suono liquido, un suono melodioso. Il suono parla tutte le lingue del mondo, è un'arte per tutti, di tutti, grandissima eredità di tutti noi.
So yeah, I was really happy to share with all of you today because I really loved this garden. It was such a highlight. And I'd never seen rocks be elastic. Some of the rocks you had were really fine and really skinny, as you can see in some of these. And when the tour guide played some of the music, I'd never seen rocks really look like elastic rubber bands before, and it was really cool. And I can't believe there was over 700, but it definitely felt like that there. You couldn't play all of them, but there was one or two that they have for people to play. And it was really cool that just the cuts, just the wind, just the rocks, and just your fingertips can create such a unique sound for everyone as well.
Yeah, it's also crazy just that like different rocks can sound different. I know it makes sense, but
no, it's so true.
Yeah.
Rock music, no pun intended.
Amazing.
I think that's the last link for today.
Yes, a very short and sweet show and tell, but thank you so much, panelists, and for everyone for joining. Yeah, we'll send out all the links to everyone and the recording as well. And then, yeah, we'll meet back here in September. So thank you all, and we'll see you next month.